All right, Capybaras, welcome back to another episode of The Lone Roller. It is me, the host, the player, the guy that interprets the dice rolls and reads a bunch of tables and makes silly voices along the way, Leon. Where we last left off was a scene that we put on pause so that I can take a quick break, come back. So now we're circling back to the scene to play it to its logical conclusion before the next scene. But in the middle of this scene, Prayuh and Talti, now under the new identity to protect himself of Sven Borker. Now, as you might recall from the last episode, but for those of you who are tuning into this episode right now, this is the first episode you're listening to. Hi, welcome, first of all, thank you. Sven Borker is the name of my friend from Ontario, Canada, who helped me brainstorm ideas for a name of a show of me playing solo role-playing games. So as to honor him, Sven, welcome back. You're now the assumed identity for Talti Horatius, the politician on the run. Now working with I guess one would say like just a criminal type, more like maybe like a kind of like a smuggler if you were going through like Star Wars universe, kind of a scoundrel, one of those things where Prayuh just gets money and he does odd jobs. Most of the time they're just hitting that shades of gray of morality and ethics. And so our last scene was Sven and Prayuh getting a mission from the Patreon Miss Kadaris to go after one of the corrupt politicians' connections that he is using to slowly poison this entire solar system. So within this solar system, Prayuh and Talti have gotten their little mission to now go after one of these people, and they are making their way to another region of the star sector. Now, in the rules of Stars Without Numbers, that does take a lot of time. It says if you're going to a whole nother region of a star sector, you are going to a solar system, you are going to, it definitely takes about a day's, it says 2 days travel. Let me double check that. The base travel time for moving between regions is 48 hours. A ship in orbit around one planet could thus travel to an entirely different planet or the transition zone at the rim of the system, or to a ship detected deep within system space, or an asteroid pirate base, or any other point of interest in the solar system. So between regions, which that's what we're going to do, it's a whole nother region, and it's going to take 48 hours. So they're it's just going to take some time, and I will have to ask a question that during that time, do they encounter anything along the way, or do they spend the next 2 days just getting to know each other? And does Talti, for now, let's just ask, do they get interrupted? And then we'll go from there. So we're going to call that 50-50 on a chaos factor of 3. $62. No, they do not encounter anything along the way on their 2-day travel. It's just Prayuh and now Sven getting to know each other on this very long travel. Okay, so 2 days go by, and they make their way to a new region. So what is the description of this region? 74, purposeful. 92, tranquil. Purposeful, tranquil. So they come to a region that of the solar system that is known for this very new age healing and peace of mind, of meditation, of almost of a Zen nature. So it's kind of funny that we have somebody here who's working with a corrupt politician that wants to destroy the solar system, or really take out a lot of the population using a device that can do that. So it's kind of funny. All right, Prayuh and Talti get a communication from the planet as they're approaching it. They get as always, they ask what's the purpose of them. Prayuh sends them their pass, like their passport, their information, and how they're just stopping by. They get the clearance to dock at a port where they get off. Talti, now Sven, leans in and Prayuh, so where do we go next? Well, Sven, it's really easy. We go to a tavern. It's where you go to the bar. That's what you do when you are on these missions, because that's where everything is happening. Prayuh just kind of brushes him off, looks at him, and Talti also a little affronted that, wait, how you what? Because I didn't know that kind of thing. And with that, they go into a local bar and they sit down. So now what, Prayuh? Well, now we drink, Sven. That's what we do. And we will find the information. Okay, understood. But Prayuh, who is the person that we are after that we have to now take down? Who indeed? Let's give this person a name. I actually, they have a name generator, and it's so, I feel like it's in Mythic GM, it's good, but it feels like it takes a couple of dice rolls to really get the name in. So it's so much better to go through the stars without numbers name generator, and that's usually what I like to work with. So let's do that. Here we go. Let's see, what kind of name do we want to go with today? Where should it originate from? Let's do Spanish. 100. Vicente Vivero is the name. Vicente Vivero. All right. Prayuh shows the data, the tablet, to Talti and goes, Sven, we're after a person named Vicente Vivero is what he says. Talti looks over this person and gets a better idea who he is. So what's the nature of this gentleman they are? Like, what kind of job or what kind of front does he lead? Obviously, he's on a planet for Zen people that provides tranquility in this region of the star system. So let's get a little bit of a background of this character. Abandoned academic. So once upon a time, Vicente was a hardworking academic in this local university maybe in another region somewhere where he was studying and studying and then eventually realized that he doesn't need to do this anymore and can do something else with his life. And that just happened to be being a con artist. And he eventually worked his way up to becoming now almost a leader of a criminal organization that is now does business with other criminal organizations and syndicates out in all across the star system that they are in, eventually conning his way into this planet and becoming a part of it and providing a service to everyone on this planet that he's looked highly of, but no one knows secretly that he does this thing. How does he appear to in his picture that Talti has in his hands on the tablet? 96, unusual. 50, fast. Yeah, let's go ahead and it means nothing to me. Or let's see what we could do. Let's do this. We'll do a character identity. So instead, we're going to do that with 96 and 50. We'll take the same roles. We get traitor, judge. So by profession, this person is highly regarded as a judge of some kind. Either it's judicial or it's some sort of mediary kind of thing where he judges local disputes and etc. So let's go with that. I like that so much better, and that's one of the reasons why I love these tables. And if one doesn't work, I can find another table. That's usually how I do it a lot of the times. Great. So as Talti is reading this over, Prayuh has now kind of disappeared off of Talti's, out of Talti's vision. He looks around, but does he spot him right away? So let's see. How he's got pretty good awareness, so 6, and I think his awareness, let me double check that really quick. Is a 1, and I'm giving that a difficulty 8. So he has lost Prayuh, and Prayuh has gone off somewhere. Talti is now by himself. Now, as someone who is not on this planet, does he get approached by anyone during this time? Or does he talk to the bartender? Does he get approached by anybody? Let's call that... I feel like with a planet that's known for its tranquility and its peacefulness, I would imagine that people are much more friendlier in this situation. And so we're going to call that, on a chaos factor 3, we're going to call it very likely. 36, let me double check the fate chart. There it is. On a 36, yes, someone does approach him. And the person approaches him and says, Well, hello. How are you? I have never seen your face around here, he says in a very friendly manner. Like, Hi, how are you? Welcome. I've never seen you before. What might you be doing here? Talti looks and says, Well met. My name is Sven. It is a pleasure to meet you. And what might your name be? He asks. Really quick, we'll just give it's 60. The stranger looks and says, Well, my name is Jose. Mucho gusto. Welcome, bienvenido, he says. And they have a very friendly greeting and exchange. Eventually, Talti goes, So, there is a person I am here to find. Do you happen to know Judge Vivero by any chance? Does he know Judge Vivero? I am going to call that very likely, as he is a very influential person in this little planet. 52. No, he does not. Jose solemnly shakes his head and says, I'm so sorry, my friend. Unfortunately, I do not know anybody. I do not know him. I'm not personally, unfortunately, but I do appreciate you talking with me. And once again, feel free and welcome. And he gives Talti a little card filled with Jose's contact info. I would love to know, what does this guy do professionally on this planet? This be a fun thing to do. So on the character identity, I rolled foreigner. Yeah, I rolled a 36, which is foreigner. And then an 11, authority. So his profession is that he is in charge of anybody, or he enforces policy and overlooks the well-being and the manners and scruples of people who visit the planet. That is why he approached Sven in the first place. And he says, call me anytime, Mr. Borker. I'm more than happy to help, as this is my profession. I am here to oversee anybody who has come to our peaceful planet and make sure that they come in here with very good intentions. Talti goes, well, it was a very pleasure to meet you, Jose. It was a very nice conversation, and I will contact you if I ever need anything. Thank you. And they exchange their goodbyes, and Jose walks off. At this point, Prayuh has returned. Hey, Sven, looks like you made yourself a friend there. Yes, I did. Prayuh. He's a person of interest of anyone that comes to visit the planet, so we should be very mindful. I'm careful. Are you saying that I'm not a careful person, Sven? It's not that I'm saying that or accusing you of such a thing. I'm just saying it is best that we keep our nose clean. Hey, if there's anybody here that keeps their nose clean, it's Prayuh, okay? And by the way, I think you might be a little interested in knowing that I found a little bit more information on our mediator, Vicente. On our little mediator, Vicente. Talti raises an eyebrow, knowing that Prayuh is not really pronouncing this name correctly, but he lets it go. And Prayuh explains that, so what has Prayuh found out? Let's see, what has he found out? Has he found the whereabouts of Vicente? I'm going to call that very likely. On a very likely, it is a no. An exceptional no. So, he didn't really find anything out, but no, he didn't find anything out. I don't know. I feel like let's not go ahead and roll this. Let's just say, yeah. So no, he has. Okay, let's think about this. It's an exceptional no. So Prayuh does not come back with any information. He kind of just holds up his shoulders and says, look, it seems to me that like I'm not having luck here at this little little tavern. They don't even serve proper alcohol. I don't know if you noticed that. It's like this wheat grass stuff and it tastes nasty. So it's nice to be sober and want to vomit as opposed to the opposite where I like to be a little bit of inebriated and vomit. This is terrible. We need to find something else, Fen. We need to go and dig a little deeper. I think we need to find some sort of underground thing. So let's do that. And with that, let's see. So using his keen sense of making connections, he rolled an 8 on that. He has a skill check. He probably can find has an innate talent to find where the seedy underbelly of any place is because that is his talent. So he says, all right, Sven, it looks like we're going to have to go a little bit deeper than one more level of something way more underground. So I think it's about time we find ourselves in a deeper, kind of darker place. And with that, that is the end of that scene. We're going to now pick up the next scene where they are finding a much more uncleaner part of this tranquil planet. So, the chaos factor does it go down or does it go up? I'm going to say it goes up. There really wasn't a lot of control on Talti or Prayuh's part. So it makes sense to me that the chaos factor now goes up to 4. And now we pick up on our new scene where let's get a little bit of description. What is this underground thing that Prayuh is taking Talti to? Okay, so is it a place? Let's get a little bit more information. Like, what is it? Is it let's say, an underground, like almost like a hedonist place? Is it a hedonist place? We'll call that very likely. We'll call that very likely. 6 is a yes and. So yes, it is a place of hedonism. It is a place of violence. It is a place where people do drugs, most likely. And it is a much more way different. And it has gone undergrounded under the notice of that. So that is where they're heading to next. And that is where our new scene will pick up. So we have to roll on that. So the scene proceeds as expected. They go into this underground area, and it is just wow. Music is almost like blasting. It's almost like a nightclub-ish kind of thing. People are making out with each other. There are other things that are just, so many things are just happening, and people are getting rowdy. This is way different. It almost shocks Talti to see this. Prayuh yelling over and goes, I think this is a little bit better. I think we could definitely find something here. So, using their connection, they get their drinks and take a sip, and Talti makes a face. It's a very strong drink. Prayuh even almost makes a similar face, but it's the same way with a twist of satisfaction. And he goes, oh, yeah, that hits the spot. He waves the bartender over, goes, this is good. I like this. He goes, hey, I'm trying to find the judge, Vicente. Do you know anybody that might know him? The bartender looks over and nods his head, and he points his finger at a person who is engaging with several people of various sexes, and there sitting is a what? Man or a woman? Let's do this. 3, it is a woman. And let's get a little bit more of that description of her. Is she tall? Is she older? Love that. And she is tall. So the bartender points over at this older woman who is surrounded by people. She's just very much engaged, and she's having a grand time of engaging in her very hedonistic way. She's drinking, she's making out with people. She's someone that is connected to the mediator, Vicente Vivero. And Talti and Prayuh goes, that's the person we need to talk to. And Talti goes, nods his head, and now have to, so what is the plan? Prayuh scratches at his chin, thinking, what is a good plan? I think we should approach her with the idea that we are with a business opportunity, and we need to get connected with the mediator, Vicente. Talti looks at Prayuh and goes, that could work. That could very well work. Let's find and engage them. I think the first thing we should do is buy them a drink. How much credits do we have left? We got plenty, so let's make it work. Prayuh waves the bartender over and asks, what is their favorite drink? The bartender explains that it's this, and he asks the bartender to have drinks, that specific round of drinks sent over, and to let them know. That goes and that happens. The older woman sees it and is a little taken aback, but then sees Prayuh and Talti, and she looks at them and she gives them the come over. Let's give her a name. Talti and Prayuh approach her and introduce themselves. She thanks them for the drinks, and Prayuh says, I am Prayuh, and this is my associate, Sven. We're just here to be very friendly, and we might be able to have a business opportunity for you and maybe your associates if you're interested. She introduces herself back as Emelina Guerra. So Emelina, she says, please have a seat. We will talk business now. She says, what is this proposition that you bring to me? And Prayuh and Talti come up on the heat in the moment. They said, we want to be able to create more of a trade route between our region of the star system and yours. We definitely can bring in a little bit more excitement to this part of your planet. She looks and says, what kind of things? The kind of hardcore drugs that can really make you feel good. She's intrigued already. She says, I like this idea. What do we have to do? We have to meet with the mediator, Vivero. Can you set that up for us? Talti says. She looks and she smiles, a little bit taken with Talti. She finds him attractive. Sven, that's your name. I like you. I can see what I can do to find a meet with mediator Vivero. For now, why don't we drink and celebrate? We could talk more business tomorrow. For now, let us celebrate and have good time. And she puts her hand on Talti's leg. Does Talti play into it? We're going to call that 50-50. 44. Random event. Random event. And I believe it is a yes. No, I'm sorry. Chaos factor 4, 50-50. No, it's a no, but it still incurs a random event. So that's what we're going to go with. So let's find the nature of our random event. 76 NPC negative. All right. 24 control, 22 conceal. Talti is already he tries to subtly say no thank you, kind of like I appreciate the sentiment, but Miss Emelina, I have to be honest, I'm only interested in business. And before anything else could happen, she goes, "Oh, no, senor, that's not how it works." And she puts a collar around his throat, and she holds up her device, tapping into it. All of a sudden, there's this thing that happens to Talti that starts making him slowly lose almost his inhibition and loses his own control. He never saw it coming. It just happened so suddenly. Pryor raises his eyebrow, a little bit worried, but then sees that what happens is that Talti is now falling in the allure of of her seduction, of Emelina's seduction. And Pryor goes, "Oh, I know where this is going." And with that, they party the night away. Talti now losing his inhibitions and falling into the seduction of Emelina. And they have a whole night together of wild, unabashed, and not safe for work kind of deal. And that is where we will end the scene, and we will pick up on the next day. At this point, that is what's happening. Talti is now under the control of Emelina, and but it's only just to celebrate this night. It's not to permanently control him, but it has now put him in a place where he is not in control. And so now he loses whatever happens tonight in his memories, and we'll wake up the next day. We'll find out a little bit more. Other than that, capybaras, that's where we'll end this scene, these two scenes, and end this episode. Tune in next time on the next episode of The Lone Roller to find out what happens to Talti and his mission to see how he gets out of this one. Guys, check out my social medias, Alternative Zen on Twitter and on Instagram. Thanks, capybaras. This was another episode of The Lone Roller.